Hi, welcome to E-Schoolhouse Presents The Voice of Experience. I'm Deborah, and today I'm going to be talking to my friend Lynn Smith. Lynn started her education career in special education, and she has a true gift of working with kids that have all kinds of different learning styles. Lynn is such a great educator. She has worked her way up to being principals of all kinds of programs, but today she's going to talk to us mostly about her experience in special ed. So let's welcome my friend Lynn Smith. Hi Lynn, welcome to E-Schoolhouse.
Hi, Deborah. Thank
Okay,
you. Hi, Deborah. It's so exciting to be here.
So the first thing I'd like to ask you, because these are strange times, kids are forced to be home because the schools are closed, and we're getting several questions from parents of special education students, very curious and maybe a little bit afraid about how they can continue their child's education. So how might you address their concerns?
Well, I know it's very scary times, and it's a lot on you. It's a lot on all of us parents. I'm also a parent, and I'm a Bella, so I have a lot of grandkids. So I do help my grandkids with their school. But I do think that especially our parents with students of special needs, we have really the teachers have been working with your child all these years, and so you haven't really had that responsibility unless you've been working directly one-on-one with them at home. So it is a little scary. So, but what I think you need to remember is that you are your child's best teacher. You know your child better than anybody else in the world, and so I just want to assure you that you can do this. You can do this. I think you really have to look at your child, figure out what works best for your child. And the big thing is, don't push it to the point where you're both getting frustrated. If the teacher's giving you an assignment online that you don't think your child can really do, or your child has shown you they can't do, just stop, halt it for a moment. Go back then, try it again. If that doesn't work, talk to the teacher. And talk to the special education teacher, because remember, special education teachers are working now as well, and they are here to help you. So don't forget to use the special education teacher as a resource.
I am so glad you said that, because so many parents will go directly to the child's classroom teacher and not even think to contact the special ed teacher. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Right.
And also talking about the frustration, I love that advice. Don't push yourself to the point of frustration. That's a really great tip.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about if the child is at home and yes, they're expected to keep learning, what if they're reluctant to learn? How might you address that?
Well, it could be, your student in particularly is used to playing at home and used to having a lot of free time at home. So this is the new normal. So you really need to explain to your child and work with your child and keep your child on a schedule. I cannot tell you how important that is, especially our students with special needs. They really need to know what's coming. And they need to know, like, when they're going to eat. That's important. When they're going to, so they have work time, play time, eat time, work, play, eat. Just continue that. Just like when they were babies, that's what we did. We took care of them, played with them, and we let them eat. So again, be sure to put your child on a schedule. You might write it out for them. And the one thing I hear families are doing is they're staying up later and they're getting up later. And I think it's important that you keep your child on the same schedule they were on as best you can, because otherwise we all get off. We all get off our schedule. So I just think that scheduling is so important. And it's also important to lay out their work for them. Make sure, especially if they're reluctant about doing their work, just let them know make a plan with them for the day. The beginning of the day, say, okay, you got this in math, you got this in reading, and now you need to be sure to, we're going to do this a little bit at a time. And if you get tired of this, we'll go to this. So two things. The structure, but also within that structure has to be some flexibility, because we go back to who's the expert on the child? You are the expert on the child. So if your child is getting frustrated, go to the art class or go to the music class or go outside and take a PE break. So again, structure and flexibility.
Wow, there's so much gold in what you just said. I mean, not only gold for the special needs learner, but these are life skills, getting up in the morning and making a plan. I mean, a lot of businesses start their day with a group meeting. So that's a
Right.
life skill that you're
Right.
teaching your
Right.
child. Well, that is really great. What about parents who maybe aren't quite sure of their child's primary learning style?
Yes, I saw you posted that in your E-Schoolhouse, that how you can see what is your best child's what's the way your child learns best.
Mhm.
So I'm a believer that there's visual, there's auditory, there's kinesthetic, and there's movement. And I'm a believer that kids learn best through all four of those modes. And so you just have to kind of see what your kiddo likes to do the most. I have a grandchild who likes to read all the time. She would read anything. I have another grandchild that moves all the time, that has to be moving. So you have to see what's going to work best for your child. And that's really what you know best. You know what works best, and it could just be a simple thing. It could just be do a little bit of reading, then I'll reward you by letting you go out and play and kick the kickball, then come back in. So you just have to know what's going to work best for your child.
Well, let me, along those lines, let me ask you something. So you've got a special needs child, probably any child. If they're trying to learn like a technical type concept, like a math concept, as opposed to some type of like a reading concept, might they potentially have a different learning
Right.
style?
They could, yeah, they could. There's some kids where you can just, yes, absolutely. And there's some kids where you can just show them, model it for them, and they got it. And there's some kids you have to use actual real things to get them to use their hands. So it just, I would just use as much as you can visually and hands-on,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to get it. But yes, there are kids that learn better certain ways.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so Lynn has very limited time. She is like super busy running her high school, and thank you so much for taking the time today. So I know a lot of you parents, especially of special needs learners, have a ton of questions. Type them in below, and then I will make sure that Lynn gets them. No expectation to do it like immediately, Lynn, but that way we can hear from someone who's been there. She's done this for so many years. So again, thank you, Lynn, for your great words of wisdom, and I sure hope you'll be able to come on again.
Thank you. Well, I just wanted to add one more thing, that just remember all these strategies and things I've talked about are for regular kids too, general ed kids too. Good teaching is good teaching. So just remember that. So I will be happy to answer your questions, and thank you, Deborah, for having me on.
Mm-hmm.